like what conditioning do I do, and essentially like what conditioning do I do, and then how do I throw so much, kind of related. My thing is, if we're pitchers, the best conditioning that we can do is throw. I've said this multiple times on videos. Like, I think in the day and age that we're in, and the baseball development industry right now, we demonize throwing volume, and I think it's terrible, right? Like, I understand it, right? Like, obviously we want to protect the kids, and we want to protect against injuries, but I think the volume isn't the issue, in the sense of, I guess that's the wrong wordage. The volume, like, per day isn't the issue. I think it's the whole, like, playing year-round, specializing in one sport thing more so than the actual volume. Because what I see, and I think the biggest disconnect with the throwing volume per day, is you get kids that monitor your throwing volume like really low down here, and then all of a sudden they have that one spike on game day where they're playing short, and then they come into pitch, and then they're playing outfield and they're throwing, and then it's like way up here, and then it goes all the way back down to control. Tell you what, man, like, I grew up throwing. Like, it was always about throwing. You just threw. And the only times that I've gotten hurt in my career, and this isn't any disrespect against anyone throughout my path, but the times that I've gotten hurt are the times that my throwing volume was 100% monitored. And I'm not going to say it was a direct correlation, but that's one thing that sticks out. And everyone asks me all the time now, because I post pretty much all my throwing sessions, like, hey, how do you throw so much? And it's like, how do you not throw so much? Like, throwing is so much fun. I love to throw. Make sure that, like, you're doing the right things from a throwing standpoint, in the sense of, like, the throwing mechanics, where you're leveraging your arm and you're not having to create independent arm energy that hammers, like, your valgus stress and all of that stuff. Obviously, there's layers of that, but I think there's so much truth to be had in the body's ability to organize when you just throw. I think if we decrease the throwing volume, your body gets confused at how to really organize, because you're not really giving it much input, right? But for me specifically, because I got a question today too that was in regards to, like, hey, if I'm transitioning from a reliever to a starter, like, I was going 1 to 2 innings, how can I go 5? Like, dude, it's pretty simple. Increase your throwing velocity. I mean, what? Starts with a V. Increase your throwing volume, right? Because it's all about, like, your body just needs to adapt. Your body is the most adaptable, like, organism on the face of the earth. And if you don't allow it to adapt, meaning the input that you're giving it isn't what you're trying to receive from it, right, when you're trying to perform, then what do you expect? You know? So my whole thing is like, my throwing is obviously for multiple reasons, and conditioning is one of them. Right? You throw for a purpose, you throw to grow. Like, it's a conditioning act. I'll even change up my throwing regimen sometimes, where it's like I'm now consciously trying to get gassed before a bullpen, and then go into the bullpen gassed and be like, all right, I got to compete now. Let's roll, right? 8th inning, let's go. And I think that's, again, like, adaptation. Like, the body is adapting to that. Yeah, you're going to be sore, dude. It's going to be different input. Like, you're probably going to feel like crap for a few weeks, dude. Because I know for me right now in my timeline where I'm at currently, like, I'm starting after having been out of the game for 2+ years and not having that high of throwing volume. And it's a grind, dude. I'm sore. I get tired really easily in games. It sucks. But I have that big picture mentality. Like, I don't get discouraged. I don't try to reinvent the wheel. I don't try to, like, do anything. I listen to my arm. I listen to my body. And I also know from past experience and being intentional with my thought process that, I just got to get used to it. Now, however long that takes, I think it's up to you to decide. But yeah, that's what I got. I think, like I said, I think that's one lost thing in today's game, is, like, the amount of throws that you're making in a day is crazy. But hey, to each his own. Hopefully you got something from that. I can't reach.